Well, good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good afternoon. I'm Mayor Ted Bettencourt, and welcome to Peabody City Hall. This is a tremendous turnout and a great show of unity in our city, and my heart really feels warm right now to be with all of you today. I want the city of Peabody to make a statement, and I think we are doing that now. I am blessed to be surrounded by so many wonderful, caring people. I did want to introduce some that are here today. From the city of Peabody, our elected officials, we are, I think, almost all here, which I fully expected, knowing the quality people that we have representing our city. I did want to recognize our state senator, Joan Lovely, who is here. Our city councilors, and I'm just going to read their names: Tom Rosignol, Tom Gould, Ed Charist, Ryan Melville, Dave Gravel, Joel Saslaw, John Turco, Peter McGinn, and Mark O'Neill. And from our school committee, we have our superintendent, Kara Murtag, here. A number of educational leaders in our community are in the back. Thank you for being here. And our school committee members, Jared Hockman, Joe Amico, and Beverly Griffin Dunn. Thank you. I'm blessed also to be surrounded by our religious leaders, our Jewish community leaders, everybody here who has reached out to show their support, their love, their caring for. For those of you who do not live in Peabody, but who came today to offer your love and support for Rabbi Schusterman, Rabbi Barron, and the Jewish community, a profound thank you. We are extremely grateful for your presence with us today. By joining those of us who live or work here in the city, you help send a very powerful message that acts of hate, like that which targeted the rabbis last week, will simply not be tolerated. Peabody has always been a welcoming community, and one that is very accepting of people from all different ethnic and religious backgrounds. Our city was built by people who came here from all over the world, looking for a better life for themselves and for their families. That melting pot community feel that I have always believed in and felt here in Peabody has provided great comfort to our citizens and has been a tremendous source of pride for our community. That's why last week's incident is so disheartening and so despicable. It's not who we are as a community. It goes against every value we hold dear. It's an act of hate, pure and simple, and we come together today as one voice to condemn it. We hope that our society would be beyond such narrow-minded bigotry and vitriol by now, that in the year 2019, love and acceptance would prevail over hate and ignorance. Unfortunately, as we saw last week in Peabody, and as we too often see in news headlines across America and around the world, prejudice continues to rear its ugly head. And although we cannot wish it away, we can condemn it swiftly and clearly, wherever and whenever it bubbles to the surface. By doing so, we send a clear message to those whose hearts are filled with malice. We do not share your views. We do not condone your hateful words, and we will not tolerate your hateful actions. And by coming together today and speaking with one powerful voice, as we are doing today, we will help inspire the next generation. They who will be the stewards of this community, this country, and this world after all of us are gone. We inspire them to reject any ideology based in hate, intolerance, and exclusion, so that perhaps they can render unto their children a world free from this hideous scourge once and for all. Thank you. We have a number of dignitaries and speakers that will be coming forward in a moment, but I wanted to first start off our rally today with a beautiful song. Peabody Veterans Memorial High School Chorale is here tonight. They are just outstanding students and everything that is good about our community. I've gotten to know them, I've gotten to listen to them, people who care for our city. And I wanted to ask them to open with a song, please.
1, 2, and 3, 4.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as
I wanted to ask to come forward and speak someone who I consider a great friend and a great community leader here in Peabody. Please welcome Rabbi Schusterman of Chabad Peabody. Rabbi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Debbie Colton of the Lappin Foundation, who's in there somewhere. Don't see her. There she is. Who's the soul behind this rally, whether she'll admit to it or not. The PCMA, the Peabody Clerical Ministerial Association, and specifically Reverend Joel and Richard Perlman, David Kudan, and others who were instrumental in making this event happen. And all the other members of the PCMA and the faith communities in the various houses of worship in town. Thank you to Rabbi Lipsker, the director and head of Chabad activities on the North Shore, for being here with us and standing together with us and really bringing us to town and standing by our side the entire time. There's so many people to thank, and I'm going to miss someone, so I hope I don't. Thank you to the Peabody Police and the State Police, who have both been incredible. Your visits with your cruisers to the local synagogue and to my home is very, very comforting to me and my family and everyone else. It means the world to myself, my family, and to the entire Jewish community that so many organizations came out, including representatives of the CJP, the ADL, the Deputy Consul General of Israel, and you'll hear more about them in a few moments. However, specifically, I want to thank the residents of the city of Peabody and the surrounding communities that are here today. Thank you for showing up today and being counted and standing by the local Jewish community, as I know you do for any faith that was attacked or maligned. This is a rally against anti-Semitism, against intolerance, but it's not about me or Rabbi Barron. When I wrote the Facebook post that started all of this, it did not cross my mind that it would catch fire quite in the way that it did. But it is you, those of you who are present, and those of you who could not make it today, who chose to share it, like it, put a cry emoji on it, comment on it over 1,000 times, that really pushed this whole thing forward. If this incident and my writing of this event on Facebook caused for this rally of goodness, and Mr. Mayor, you'll forgive me for renaming this event. It is a rally against hate, but I want to refer to it as a rally for good. And if there will be some actual substantive good things that will come out of it, more than just simply saying, I won't tolerate this, then as they say in the Passover Haggadah, Dayenu, it would be enough. While it is important for Jews to stand up loud and proud, wear their kippah and their Star of David and not cower in fear, and frankly, that was the purpose of my post. If we look to history to be any sort of guide, it was the righteous Gentiles of the world that saved so many thousands of lives during the darkest period of Jewish history, the Holocaust. As many hundreds and thousands did then, so must many hundreds and thousands do today, and that is do something good in response to negative and hateful acts. I will let the ADL tell you the statistics of hate and the trends. Yes, they are frightening, and step one is to call it for what it is, anti-Semitism. But the job of myself as a Chabad rabbi is to follow the lead of my teacher, the Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, is to guide myself and others who wish to participate in the appropriate response, and that is to increase in goodness. When my wife and myself moved here 16 years ago with our 2 children, this was a city that prided itself on being a no place for hate city. Now, 16 years later, and 5 more children later, that slogan is being put to the test. So I stand before you today to say that has not changed one bit. The city of Peabody is still a city of love, tolerance, compassion, diversity, warmth, and acceptance. We are still that city, and sometimes someone or something rattles our cages and makes us unsure if this is still the case, but I assure you, Peabody is still a city where it is no place for hate. Yes, I'm a rabbi here in town, but I'm a regular person. I'm a human being. I'm a father. I have a need to keep my family safe and protected. I don't have my head buried in the sand about what happens and the dangers that Jews face. I simply choose to focus on solutions, not on problems. In that regard, there's a lot of good going on already. And this event has generated even more. Among the hundreds of comments on Facebook, I also got many private messages as well as emails. One from Rona, where she said, I pass you and your family every Saturday as you're walking to your synagogue, and I love to see a family in today's day and age that still has values and wants to go to their house of worship and pray to God. I also noticed that one of the little girls was walking a bit too close to the street, and her older brother ran quickly to protect her, bringing her deeper onto the sidewalk. How do you make such children these days? And there was a note from a local religious leader of another faith who told me, that what happened is not reflective of my faith, nor any faith, and that he will be wearing a Star of David in solidarity. There was many more, perhaps 100 more, but I want to share one final one. Mikey. Mikey emails me and says, Rabbi, I'm so sorry you had to experience that. I'm not of the Jewish faith, but I have a lot of respect for the Jewish people. Growing up, I was a troubled kid, and it was Mr. Goldberg in Revere who took a chance with me, hired me when no one else would, that helped me get my life back on track. I realized that you and Mr. Goldberg are really the same. You are both just trying to help your local community. And now, it is my turn, Mikey says, to be Mr. Goldberg. I'm going to my neighbor's house. She's an elderly woman, and she's having trouble keeping up. So I mowed her lawn, and I'm going to visit her regularly since she is just so lonely. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for inspiring me to do better myself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mikey really captured the essence of what this rally for good is, what Peabody is, in my opinion. We need to turn darkness into light, sadness into happiness, negative into positive. How we react to negative things is the ultimate differentiator. Some are inclined to remove the visible signs of their difference. Take off their yarmulke, hide their Star of David, take their mezuzah off their door. That works for some, but that doesn't solve the problem of hate. People of color cannot remove their skin. People of other oppressed communities cannot hide who they are. So hiding your identity doesn't fix anything. In fact, I think we need to do the opposite. We need to reinforce our individuality, stand louder and prouder in who we are. The real solution, however, is to root out the hate. It needs to be uncool, unwoke to hate. It needs to become stylish and fashionable to do good. And you'll hear more about that in a moment from Rabbi Barron. Back when Kennedy introduced the Peace Corps, it became good and noble and stylish, a noble and stylish thing to give to others. In Judaism, we call that a mitzvah. I call upon all those present and all those who will hear and see this at a later point to do their part in rooting out that hatred and increasing in acts of goodness. Do a mitzvah. Replace the hate with something good and concrete. Take 10 seconds right now to think of something positive that you're going to do that's going to make this city and yourself and your life even greater. Perhaps visit a friend whom you've had a falling out with. Bring food to someone in your neighborhood who just had a baby. Be creative, but pledge to do something good. And finally, I know I'm going long for a rally, finally, hate begins at home. It's a learned trait. As I posted on Facebook, we need to change the way children are educated. They need to learn that there are real people, that there are real victims who are impacted by what they say, do, and think. And there's life beyond video games and social media. There was a movement in the past that I hope will be considered by the school committee. I know that you're here. And I'm hopeful maybe it'll make a comeback. It was called a moment of silence in our schools. You may have heard about it in the news recently when my colleague, Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein, made it part of the national discussion after being shot in the hands defending his shul in Poway, California. The idea is that students are asked to stop for a minute, no talking, no phones, nothing. Just closing their eyes and realizing that they are not alone on earth. There's a higher power, whatever that power may be to them, and that they, each and every individual, child and adult, matters. You matter. Therefore, what you do matters. There's a God, and there's a creator, a reason that we exist. We are not random, and nothing is by mistake. If we heal this at the bottom, it will improve at the top. It may take some time, but it will get done. So again, thank you to all of you who came out on a busy late Wednesday afternoon, fighting Peabody City downtown traffic and parking to be here. And let's hope that together this will be the last rally that is necessary for any form of hate or bigotry. Amen.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Coming off the heels of what Rabbi Schusterman said, I want to invite everyone to look over to my left, to your right, and you'll see a board leaning up against that flagpole. And I invite all of you to take your mitzvah resolution, your resolution for good that Rabbi Schusterman spoke of a couple of moments ago, and create a tangible memory of it by putting it up on that board. Whatever you resolve to do, you'll put it up there and you'll remember to do it, and you'll truly change the world for the better. I want to say that I love visiting the city of Peabody. I love visiting Rabbi Schusterman, and the events of last Saturday have not changed that. I intend to be back and wear my yarmulke proudly and walk down Lowell Street proudly, and hopefully with all of your help, we'll maintain Peabody as a no place for hate city. And thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you, both Rabbi Schusterman and Rabbi Barron, for your words. We are very pleased today to have a representative of the Anti-Defamation League of New England with us today. The nation's premier civil rights and human relations agency, the ADL fights anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, defends democratic ideals, and protects civil rights for all. Please welcome Rhonda Gilberg.
My name is Rhonda Gilberg, and I chair the Anti-Defamation League's North Shore Advisory Committee. Unfortunately, this is my 5th rally dealing with anti-Semitism in the last year and a half, strictly on the North Shore. Anti-Semitism is currently at historic numbers, and it is becoming increasingly dangerous to be Jewish in public and around the world. We are here today because of the courage of this community to stand up and say no. The courage to report what happened and the courage to stand up against anti-Semitism. We cannot fight anti-Semitism alone. It takes the entire community to work together. All of us need to be courageous if we want to combat anti-Semitism, hate, and bigotry. We need to be vigilant, not intimidated, to stand up and combat hate in all forms, regardless of race, religion, nationality, disability, or sexual orientation. We need to stand together to secure justice and fair treatment for all, in which we live, work, and learn, are built on foundations of mutual respect, reflecting our core values of justice and inclusion. Thank you, City of Peabody, for showing your courage and resilience to combat hate by all being here today. And I just want to echo Rabbi Schusterman, because he really hit on the heart of what today is. Mayor Bettencourt has done good. Everyone here has done good. Just by being a part of this rally, you have all done good. Pay it forward. Continue. Stand up for what you believe in and stick together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. That was terrific. We are grateful today to have a representative of Combined Jewish Philanthropies with us. Combined Jewish Philanthropies' mission is to inspire and mobilize the diverse Greater Boston Jewish community to engage in building communities of learning and action that strengthen Jewish life and help improve the world. Please welcome Mr. Shep Remus.
Well, as you just heard, my name is Shepard Remus, and I'm here as a board member representing the leadership of Combined Jewish Philanthropies. I also have some Peabody credentials that I want to tell you about. I was born and grew up here. I went to Peabody High School, and standing where I am, I'm reminded that for 4 years I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in that building as a member of the Peabody City Council. So my roots are here, and I'm very pleased to be here for this occasion. Today, we gathered to show our support and our solidarity with Rabbi Schusterman and Rabbi Barron, the victims of an ugly act of anti-Semitism on a street right here in our community. While it's shocking, it's sadly not an isolated incident. Rabbi Schusterman and Rabbi Barron were targets of the same kind of anti-Semitism that we have seen throughout our country, our world, and in Greater Boston in recent years. Anti-Semitism and other acts of hatred are on the rise. Just recently, we have had anti-Semitism in area high schools, the desecration of nearby cemeteries, arson attacks at Chabad houses in Arlington and Needham, even vandalism at the New England Holocaust Memorial. And we know that it's not just property that is damaged. Anti-Semitism and hatred have turned deadly time and time again, most recently for Jews in Pittsburgh and Poway. For the Jewish community, these are unsettling times. They have been dispiriting. They have made us alternatively sad, angry, and uncertain. For the Jewish community, however, this is unlike other times in Jewish history. We also know that we are not alone. It is so gratifying to see Mayor Bettencourt, who has played a key role in establishing and supporting this rally, as well as members of law enforcement, interfaith clergy, and the list goes on. Peabody officials and community leaders and friends like you who give us strength and resilience. CJP is determined to keep congregations, schools, and institutions safe, secure, and welcoming. It is disseminating best practices in safety and security. It's partnering with law enforcement throughout the Commonwealth to run safety and security trainings and working to help strengthen physical security at institutions. It's also heartening to see this gathering today, because while the victims of this act of hate were Jewish, the darkness we face isn't only about the Jewish community. No one should need to think twice about proudly identifying with their cultural heritage or their faith, and no one should feel threatened for what they wear or who they love or how they worship. Thank you, Peabody and the North Shore, for coming together today to condemn acts of hate and stand with each other in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Remus. The Consulate General of Israel is the official representative of the State of Israel to New England. It serves as the liaison between the residents of New England and the State of Israel. We are honored today to be joined by Deputy Consul General Daniel Agranoff.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I'm Daniel Agranoff, Deputy Consul General of Israel to New England. On May 25th, as they were out for a peaceful stroll on the Sabbath, Rabbi Schusterman and Barron were verbally accosted and insulted in a hateful and despicable manner, in which classical anti-Semitic tropes were evoked. As the representative of the State of Israel in New England, I stand here today in solidarity with the rabbis and with your entire community to express our grave concern and support. Although I have been in my role in the consulate for less than a year, sadly, this is the 5th time we are speaking out against anti-Semitism at a local rally here in New England. The State of Israel has been closely following the rise of anti-Semitism in the United States. We are committed to do all within our power to oppose this terrible manifestation of religious bigotry and hatred everywhere. We strongly committed Mayor Bettencourt and the Peabody Clergy and Ministerial Association for taking swift action to organize this peaceful rally, which sends such a powerful message of unity. And we commend the rabbis for reporting this incident and not remaining silent. Rabbis Schusterman and Barron are profile and discourage and role models for the rest of us. Each and every one of us must take personal responsibility and commit to ongoing vigilance to call out hatred and bigotry whenever and wherever we encounter it. If our societies start to accept these verbal attacks as normal, that is when the troubles begin. Today's peace rally does just that. American and Israeli, Jews and everyone else reject these acts of bigotry. All of us must stand together to demonstrate solidarity in the face of racial and religious hatred. We must not waver in resisting any anti-Semitism and all forms of racial and religious intolerance. Thank you, and thank you very much to all to come to this event.
Thank you, Deputy Consul General, for being here. A couple people that I wanted to recognize and played a role in this extremely successful rally, an important moment for our city. I did want to mention, she was mentioned earlier, but I wanted to thank her, Debbie Colton from the Lapin Foundation. Thank you for your voice and leadership. I also did want to thank our City of Peabody Police Department. We have with us our Police Chief, Tom Griffin. And we have a number of officers around. I also wanted to thank, and very fortunate to have here, our state police officers, State Police Major Pasquale Russolillo. Thank you. As mayor, I am extremely fortunate to have a very close working relationship with the Peabody Clergy and Ministerial Association, the PCMA, which is an organization of our community faith leaders from across the city. We meet regularly, once a month, to discuss issues in our community. We've been working on dialogue sessions that will be rolling out here very shortly on difficult issues. But I did want to recognize, we have a number of them here today, which is wonderful. I did want to recognize two members that have been great friends to me and have meant so much to the community and to what has taken place here today. Rabbi Rick Perlman. From Temple near Tamid, and Rabbi David Kudan. Thank you, Rabbi. I wanted to personally thank Rabbi Perlman. We have developed a very close relationship, and when I'm having a bad day, he is somebody that I go to talk it through, and I wanted to thank him. Thank you. Among the representatives from the PCMA that we have here today, I wanted to ask Father John McGinnis of St. John's Church, which is right behind us, to come forward and say some words on behalf of the PCMA. Father John.
Shalom, peace. Shalom to all of you, and especially to our brothers and sisters, our friends and neighbors in the Jewish community. I'm pleased to bring to all in our community the prayers and concern of two of our many Catholic parishes, St. John's and St. Thomas, but today in a special way for the Peabody Clergy and Ministerial Association. My fellow clergy of the PCMA have asked me to share with you a message that I know resonates in the minds and the hearts of the people of our great faith traditions, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim. Our God is not a God of hate, created by people who despise or look down on others, but the God of love, who speaks to us a message of peace, shalom. Long before I arrived in Peabody as a pastor 19 years ago, the men and women of faith in Peabody began coming together to pray and to dialogue, and to seek ways to cooperate for the betterment of all of the citizens of Peabody. This was and is the vision of the PCMA, and of many other multi-faith organizations that have arisen around the world to build mutual respect and understanding among people of faith and peace among all peoples. When someone shows hate or contempt to any person of faith or to any human being, it offends and diminishes us all. Over the centuries, and even today, sadly, devout Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox, Jews, and Muslims have suffered at the hands of others. But more than speak out against anti-Semitism or words or actions against any religion, our clergy today appeal to you and to all men and women of goodwill to come together like this to build our cities and our towns as places where we speak up for the value and the dignity of every human person, regardless of their color or creed. The example we want to offer you as faith leaders in this community is the example of faith, of prayer, of dialogue, and of good deeds. Every year, the PCMA invites all of you citizens at Thanksgiving to offer prayers from our traditions to the one true God, whom we worship in our churches and synagogues and mosques, the God of mercy, the God of justice, the God of peace. We meet every month in dialogue, in sharing with each other and officials, and I'm very happy to say Mayor Ted Bettencourt and other officials and leaders in our civic institutions. We talk about the things that matters to all of us, our children, our elderly, our homeless, and every person made in the image and likeness of God. So join us in a common call today to prayer and dialogue to build stronger communities, communities where hate has no place, communities where we foster understanding and deep, abiding respect for others, of those things which unite and even may separate us. People of faith see God as the source of our one humanity, God who leads us through genuine acts of faith, hope, and love, those little acts of kindness and genuine love that help us to build a future of shalom, peace, a word, by the way, that in all three of our great Abrahamic faiths means the same thing: harmony, wholeness, and completeness, which is the highest aspiration of all of us as children of God and as brothers and sisters to one another. Again, I say to all of you, and especially to you, Rabbi, and all of our Jewish brothers and sisters, Shalom.
Thank you, Father John. This is a defining moment for our city. When I learned of the incident took place to Rabbi Schusterman and Rabbi Barron, I was personally troubled, angered, and disappointed. But it was certainly not me alone. It is our elected officials, people who live and work in the city of Peabody. So many people reached out to me through phone calls, text messages, emails, and wanted to do something to show our disgust with what happened. And that's what has brought us here today, to speak and send a message as a community, to speak with one voice. And that's what we're doing here today. And once again, I want to thank all of you for being here as our community rallies to combat hate and intolerance. With your presence and the powerful words of our speakers and the beautiful singing voices of our high school chorale, we have demonstrated our resolve and our determination to see love overcome hate and goodness overcome evil. I want to end again with a beautiful song from our high school chorale. Thank you for being here, and thanking you for being a part of our message to the world about what is wrong and what we must always be vigilant and fight against. Thank you.
This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I've roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sand of our diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, our voice was chanting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.